From Arizona, Mr. Franks, recognized.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, General, for being here. I guess just to lay the groundwork here, you understand that perhaps the reason that this issue has gotten so much attention is that in the simplicity of the overall project here, it appears that the American government, the American Justice Department of Justice, through their department and subsidiaries, have orchestrated a program to get American gun dealers to sell guns to straw buyers, to then run those guns to Mexico and give them to drug cartels, around 2,000 high-powered weapons, with the understanding that that takes grave risk for innocent human life. I mean, at this point, we know that at least one of our own agents was killed, and probably 150 or more Mexican citizens were killed. Now, that's a pretty scary scenario by itself. But I think the thing that would really concern the American people is why this was all done. On the one hand, if it was just something that was a sincere effort that went wrong, or was just gross incompetence, so that's one thing. But Mr. Issa mentioned some internal emails that I think were pretty significant, because if the American people learned that the motivations for all of this was somehow to make a case to deprive them of their Second Amendment rights, or to make a case to further the department's ability to further regulate gun rights within the United States, that would make them very angry, General. And so let me just read a couple of the emails again. I know that Mr. Issa has already done this, but I just want to be clear on this so that you understand why some of us are so concerned. On July 14, 2010, the ATF headquarters received an update on Fast and Furious, and the Assistant Director, Mark Chait, emailed Bill Newell, the head of the ATF's Phoenix office. Quote, Bill, can you see if these guns were all purchased from the same licensed gun dealer and at one time? We're looking at anecdotal cases to support a demand letter on long gun multiple sales. Thanks. In other words, they were trying to use this tragedy to build a case for these demand letters. Well done yesterday, Bill. In light of our request for demand letter 3, this case could be a strong supporting factor if we determine how many multiple sales of long guns occurred during the course of this case. And it appears that the ATF was trying to rely on walked guns orchestrated by the department to justify its new long gun reporting requirement known as Demand Letter 3. Well, the people would be very upset. Is that true? Now, you've already testified that you hadn't read these emails. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, that I haven't read?
You already told Mr. Issa that you hadn't actually read these emails.
Right. That's correct.
Well, the thing that is difficult for me, General, is that you then told him that it was out of context. And how would you have known that it was out of context if you hadn't read them? I mean, what would give you the first indication that they were out of context?
Because he read part of the email to me, and I was able to listen to that, and understanding what he said or what he read from the email, and knowing what happened here as I explained.
All right, I'll accept that. But do you read? I know you said that you don't oftentimes read letters from your own staff. Do you read major letters from oversight chairmen like Mr. Issa and Mr. Grassley that come to your office? Do you personally read these letters?
I can certainly say that over the last few months, everything that Mr. Issa has sent, that Senator Grassley has sent, I have read.
Well, let me just say then to you, on July 12th, 2011, which was a letter that they both sent to you, the emails I just read to you were attached to the letter.
Well, I might not have read the attachments then. I mean, I understand something. I mean, these things come in. I read these things from Mr. Issa, from Congressman Issa, from Senator Grassley, because I take seriously the.
It's hard for me to. But anyway, let me skip one more. Ask you one more question here. Mr. Issa had also asked if you had given all the pertinent emails here, and that he noted that none of them had your name on them, none of them. And you've said that, this obviously is probably one of the most significant scandals facing your tenure over the Justice Department. And not one email, General, was from you, or not one of them?
Well, we have produced a really substantial amount of stuff around the February 4th letter. But let me just be very clear that with regard to documents that go beyond that from February the 5th on, those materials have not been produced, and it is not our intention to produce them following that which...
So the answer to his question would have been no, that you haven't given him all of the pertinent emails. And I guess I'll just... It just is very simple in my mind that either, if there are no emails from you that have been given to Mr. Issa, if there are none regarding this committee, then we're left with three options here. Either this is not that big a deal to you, and I know that it is, or somehow you, for particular reasons, don't write emails so that there can't be any record, or that you haven't given us those emails. Now, that's the only three things I can come up with. There may be other possibilities. I'm open to hear it.
Well, I made an exception to the way in which the Justice Department has always conducted itself with the provision of these materials around that February 4th letter, and acted in a way with regard to all other email material in the way that all other attorneys general before me have. And on that basis, there are emails, materials that we have not and will not produce.
I understand.
Yet following
Mr. Chairman, my time is up, but I understand, Mr. General, and I appreciate it. But that answers the question, and I appreciate that, because without insulting you, that's one of the first clear answers I've gotten today, is that you've agreed that you haven't given the chairman all of the pertinent emails, and you're saying you're not going to. So at least that's a clear answer for all of us. And with that, I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Franks. The gentleman from Illinois, Mr. Quigley, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.